Now let's get started with creating new issues. Creating new issues is one of the most helpful ways to contribute to the ownCloud documentation. Issues document changes that need to be made, and these can be made for any number of reasons, including information is missing, incorrect or outdated, or a new feature has been created in, say, ownCloud Core that needs to be documented. Now, to create a new issue, first, in your browser, open up github.com/ownCloud/docs/issues, as I have here. And then on the right-hand side, click the New Issue button. This will take you to the New Issue form. There, you'll see a basic web form where you can enter a title and a description, as well as assign the issue to one or more people, add one or more labels, and link it optionally to a project or a milestone. Now, of these options though, you only need to be concerned about a title and a description, and optionally assigning the issue to one or more people. So let's start off. First, we'll enter a concise little title that describes the change that needs to be made. So for example, let's say that you found several broken links in the admin manual's release notes. In this case, I think a good title might be Fix Broken Links in the Admin Manual's Release Notes. As you see, as I was typing, you'll see here that GitHub suggests a number of related issues. So what that's trying to do is to help you know if the issue that you're creating has already been created or created and resolved. So if you see an issue here that looks pretty close to what you have in mind, have a check of it first before you invest the time to create an issue. If there already is one, please contribute to that discussion if need be. If there are none that match what you need, please continue and create the issue. And you can get rid of these by clicking Hide Related Issues here. Next, what we're going to do is to enter a description that describes the required change in greater depth. Now, if we look at the description field here, you can see that it's pre-filled with a template which is designed to help you create a meaningful description. It has 4 sections that should be filled out. Ideally, the more of them that you fill out, the better this description will be. These are: what type of content change is this? Now, as the note suggests here, please choose all that apply. So is it a new content addition? Is it an old content deprecation? Is it existing content simplification? Now, to select the one that you want, what you do here is replace the space with an X for the ones that are appropriate. So let's say that this isn't a new content addition. This is a bug fix to existing content. Now onto the second question. Which manual does this relate to? Now, by default, you can pick one of the 3 core manuals, one or more of the 3 core manuals, those being the admin, developer, and user manuals. I'll choose the admin manual. However, if your issue relates to another manual, feel free to add it here in a similar style, such as maybe iOS or Android, or for sakes of time perhaps, maybe just write other. Then on to the third question, what needs to be documented? Now, as I've suggested here, please be generous and describe in detail what you need to change. But don't make it like a sort of a full PhD thesis. Don't go over the top. Provide enough detail so that whoever is reading through this can understand why this change should be made, who they should talk to collect any further information, if in the case you haven't provided enough information or they're a bit uncertain about what you've written or are asking for, who the most appropriate person is to actually make this change, so which would be to go ahead and document this, and who the most appropriate person is to review it, because we always have at least one person, obviously, creating the documentation and one person to review it, because 2 sets of eyes are better than 1. Now on to the third question. Why should this change be made? Sorry, correct myself there. The fourth question. Why should this change be made? As with the earlier questions, while it may be obvious to you why this change should be made, because you're the person who perhaps most knows this area, it may not necessarily, and it probably isn't necessarily obvious to other people, especially the person who would be tasked with implementing this change. So for this question, describe as effectively as you can why this documentation change needs to be made. Again, please don't go over the top. Please don't write a PhD thesis. Please be succinct yet descriptive, and just show why it's important to have this done, what it relates to, and ideally a potential deadline so that the documentation team can gauge the level of priority that needs to be placed on this issue. Now, let's assume that we've filled that out and it's something kind of meaningful and so forth. You can assign the issue to somebody. You can add some labels, a project or a milestone. At this point, we're not going to focus on projects and milestones, nor on labels. However, we will have a look at assigning. So here, all you need to do is click this, I'll call it a cog icon, and then pick one or more people from the list. You can scroll down and click one or more. Alternatively, you can put in their name here. So I'll put in my own name, and then again, click on them there. And that person will be assigned to the issue. After you've done that, click Submit New Issue, and your issue is created. So if we click on the Issues tab here, you can see that it appears at the top of the list. If you mouse over it, you can see a little bit of a summary about that issue, so you don't have to click into it to find out the basics about it. All right, now on to the last point, which is commenting on issues or discussions. Now, once an issue has been created, the discussions can begin, which you can see in this example here. Discussions help ensure that the person who created the issue, along with the person implementing it, are crystal clear about what is being requested or what needs to be done. Further information can be added in discussions, original ideas can be clarified, and they can also be corrected, and links to further information as well as code examples can be provided. All of this helps to ensure that the issue is implemented both quickly, but most essentially, correctly. Now, if you're particularly nerdy, you can browse the actions that were applied to the issue as well. In this case, you can see that there are two. Firstly, that it was assigned to me 2 days ago, and that I've added the work in progress label also 2 days ago. Some other things that you'll see from time to time include the commits, PRs, and other issues that relate to it, and if the issue has been merged or completed. So if you're very curious, have a look at one or more of the current documentation issues to get a feel for what to expect.